Hi everybody, TJ Mac Vintage Cards here. Today I'm looking at the 1976-77 hockey cards. I have some tops here, OPC, and even a couple WHL issues. I'm going to look at the 18 key cards that I selected for 1976-77 season in hockey. Certainly there are more Hall of Famers and star players from those years, but I wanted to limit it just to the 18 cards that I do for each of the years in hockey from right now 68 to 85. So 76, I think this is a really nice design. Growing up, I didn't collect this year when it was issued, but I did have cards from this set that were handed down to me over time, and so I'm quite familiar with a lot of the players in this set, and it is one of my favorite sets from the 70s. And specifically that's because just some of the great looking goalie cards that we're going to look at in here this year, and then the next year just have some of the great mask cards for the goalies that I really like. I'm just going to take a quick overview of the cards, and then I'll show you a closer up shot. But in 1976-77 season, there were 300-point plus scorers. Two of them will be profiled here. They were Guy Lafleur, who led the league in points. Also, Marcel Dionne was second. And then you had Steve Shutt, who I don't have in this particular year profile, who had 60 goals that year and 105 points. But looking here, we got Gilbert Perreault with the Flyers. And the next up is Borja Selming. He was one of the first European players to play in the NHL. Not the first, but one of them in the early group that came over. And he was a Swedish player. And he, at that time, it was thought that European players were soft and couldn't really make it in the NHL. And he was one of the first guys that really broke through. He definitely helped pave the way for other European players by showcasing his own skills and toughness, and he was definitely a successful player. Selming was an excellent puck handler, a great end-to-end skater. He was very quick. He was a one-time first-team and five-time second-team defenseman, and he's right now still the Maple Leafs all-time points leader for defensemen with 768 points, and I believe he is also the all-time assist leader for the Maple Leafs. And next we have Billy Smith for the Islanders. And there's Bobby Clarke from the great 70s Flyers teams, which won a couple Stanley Cups. And there's Marcel Dionne in his all-purple sweater there with the pants and everything. I think it's a really sharp looking uniform that's definitely reflective of the 70s. Johnny Buchek, the Bruins went to the Stanley Cup final that year, where they lost to the Montreal Canadiens 4-0. And going down here, we got Tony Esposito. This is just a great card here. I love the action pose here with the white mask that he wore, and then you saw earlier Perreault had a similar one. His was just a little, covered his face a little more broadly. And then next to Esposito is the Brian Trottier rookie. Trottier was one of the leaders of that Islanders team that won 4 Stanley Cups in a row from 79 to 83. Or 79 to 82, I'm sorry. And then here we got Larry Robinson. Larry Robinson was the points leader for defensemen that year in 1976. He had 19 goals, 66 assists, 85 points. But what was really remarkable is he had a plus-minus of 120 in 1976. That's the second all-time behind Bobby Orr, who had a plus-minus of 124. Larry Robinson was just a spectacular defenseman and definitely an anchor for those Canadiens teams. And then next to him is the Hart Trophy winner as the MVP in 1976, Guy Lafleur. He was also the playoff MVP there. Again, the Canadiens swept the Bruins 4-0. And Lafleur is the all-time scoring leader in Canadiens history with 1,246 points. He had 518 goals, 728 assists. And then in his 14 years with the Habs, he led the NHL in points in 76, 77, and 78. In his career, he won 2 MVPs, 3 Art Ross trophies as points leader, and 5 Stanley Cups. And in the 76 season, the Canadiens were 68-12. It's just unbelievable. They definitely had some great teams in a lot of eras, but that 76 team was one of the special teams for sure. And then next to him, we got Denny Potvin for the Islanders. And here's Gilbert Perreault. And Perreault was selected as one of the 100 greatest players in NHL history. He was a center for the Sabres, played 17 seasons with them. He was the first selection by the Sabres franchise when they came into the league in 1970. And back then, when they came in the league, also the Canucks came in the league the same year. And there was a wheel that was spun to decide who was going to get the first pick. And in that wheel that they were going to spin, roulette style, the Canucks had numbers 2 through 6. The Sabres had numbers 8 through 12. There was number 7 was a neutral number, and there was no number 1 for whatever reason on the wheel. But what happened is when they spun the wheel, they thought it landed on number 1. The league president, Clarence Campbell, didn't realize there wasn't a number 1, and he went over to congratulate the Canucks. But then Punch Imlach, the coach for the Sabres, said, "Hey, that's number 11." So what happened was the Sabres got the first pick. They picked Perreault, and then if you notice, his jersey number is number 11 in honor of how he got on the team. I think it's a pretty cool story. And Perreault was definitely a great player for the Sabres. Again, he anchored that French connection line that I've said in other videos with Rick Martin and René Robert. He finished his career with 512 goals, 814 assists, and 1,326 points. Ranks 33rd all-time in the NHL scoring list. And then over here we have Ken Dryden, one of my favorite hockey cards of all time. I love this pose here with the mask. Just a great card. And then here's Bobby Orr, kind of looking odd in his Blackhawks jersey here. Played a couple years for the Blackhawks, didn't play very many games with them. By this point, he was pretty much just reduced to an average to below average player, really, just because he couldn't get on the ice because of knee injuries, and they just caught up to him. So he just was not near the player he was in previous years. And here's Stan Mikita. Phil Esposito, this is his first card on the Rangers. And Esposito is the points leader for the 1970s. Just a scoring machine. And then here are 2 WHL cards. This is the Gordie Howe card right here with the Houston Aeros. And I added these to my sets because I just wanted to have kind of a broad look at the 76 season, and I thought the WHL played a role. So each of those years I have at least the Hull and the Orr cards, because I think those are 2 of the special cards in the set. There's the Bobby Hull on the Winnipeg Jets, which that team soon went into the NHL a couple years later. So here again is an overview of the 76-77 set. Hope you enjoyed this video, and everybody have a great day.